Here's to me. I made Sheridan think she only dreamed there was a bloody corpse, and I defanged Senor Luis by telling him his father was a thief. Good work, Julian.
Still celebrating, Julian?
I have every reason to celebrate. Everything's going enormously well for me and for the family.
Oh, yes. Because you convinced Sheridan that it was all just a nightmare, that she really didn't see a corpse in the living room, and that her hands weren't all bloody.
Yes, it wasn't easy to convince her, so yes, I'd say that's one hell of a reason to celebrate.
You know, isn't it odd that you let her go on thinking all those years that her nightmares were based in reality?
I didn't let her do anything. I'd hoped she'd get over the delusion.
Yeah, so one would think she would have after all those years. What did you say to finally convince her?
I simply told her the truth. I mean, you make it sound like I pulled a fast one on my own sister. Is that what you think?
You know, I'm just remembering I overheard you and your father talking, and you and Alistair said that you would sacrifice Sheridan for the sake of the Crane image.
Yeah, as usual, you're quoting me out of context.
Oh. What was the context, darling? It seemed pretty obvious to me that you and your father would sick the dogs on Sheridan if she got out of hand.
Being overly dramatic as usual. May I get you a glass of port?
No, thank you. But I'm afraid I have to warn you, I think your celebration is a bit premature.
You have to do better than that to bring me down today, Ivy. I'm on top of the world.
Well, I'm afraid Sheridan isn't quite as convinced as you'd like her to be.
What do you mean she's not convinced? Of course she's convinced.
No. She is still very concerned about that night. She still thinks she might have killed someone.
What do you mean she's not convinced? I explained the whole thing to her. She only dreams she saw a bloody corpse.
Yes, well, I'm sure your explanation was very thorough, darling, but Sheridan isn't buying it.
What the hell did you say to her? She was buying it last time I spoke to her.
I didn't have to say anything. Sheridan decided all on her own that believing you might not be the best thing.
God, can't have this mess dragged up again. It's imperative that Sheridan forget all about that night.
Well, I know that's what you and your father want, but you know your sister. She's very willful. She just doesn't believe that she dreamed the whole thing.
It's ridiculous. I mean, there's not a shred of evidence anywhere that she ever saw a corpse or blood in her hands or a coffin. There's no evidence that it was anything but a child's nightmare.
I'm well aware there's no evidence, Julian. But then there never is when a Crane is involved in something messy.
What are you implying, that we somehow buried the evidence?
Please. We both know how powerful the Crane Empire is. If Alistair wanted something buried, it would be very easily accomplished.
That's beside the point. Just who the hell does she think was lying there dead?
Well, she thinks the body under the bloody sheet was Luis's father, Martin Fitzgerald.
Why would she think that Martin was the corpse?
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to blame me.
I knew it. What did you say to her?
Sheridan just wanted to know exactly when Martin disappeared. I told her. What are you covering up, Julian?
Nothing.
Then there was no harm in my telling Sheridan that Martin disappeared the day before she was banished to Paris.
She wasn't banished. She was sent to the best psychiatrist in France.
Because she insisted she had killed someone. She was hysterical about it. Tell me the truth. Is it just a coincidence? Or did Sheridan kill Martin Fitzgerald?
Oh, Pilar. I thought I heard someone.
Hello, Mr. Crane.
Forgive me for being paranoid. But I'd rather not talk about Sheridan killing the housekeeper's husband when the housekeeper is standing right outside the door.
Well, if it really is a coincidence that Sheridan was sent to Paris the day after Martin disappeared, you shouldn't worry about Pilar overhearing.
Of course, it's a coincidence. Sheridan was having bizarre dreams. She was sent to the best doctors in Europe. Martin disappeared because he was caught embezzling money from the company. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other.
Well, that's not what Sheridan thinks.
Then perhaps she's in need of even more psychiatric help. And why on earth would Sheridan kill Martin Fitzgerald? She was only a child.
That's what I was hoping you could tell me.
Oh, this is utterly ridiculous. Let's just hope Louise doesn't hear about Sheridan's latest crazy idea. I mean, I finally put an end to his unreasonable hatred of us by telling him what his father had done and how we helped his mother out financially when Martin disappeared.
I suppose you keep saying that to convince yourself, but may I remind you that it was I who helped Pilar out with the money and not you, and certainly not Alistair. Oh. And if you're lying to Louise about that, it makes me wonder what else you're lying about.
Nothing.
Could you be lying about Martin's embezzlement? It seemed odd to Sheridan and to me that you and your father covered it up at the time. We both know that Alistair considers it a whipping offense for an employee to steal a paperclip, so why would he agree to cover up something as serious as embezzlement?
You don't know my father as well as you think you do.
I know him well enough to know that he's probably up to something, and you definitely are up to something.
Well, stop talking nonsense. I want you to keep a close eye on Sheridan. We can't risk her stirring up Louise.
Well, that may be something you can't do anything about.
Father's not going to like this.
Teresa, hello. I need you to make some phone calls for me. I'm planning the New Year's Eve benefit ball.
Yes, Mrs. Crane, right away. Excuse me.
I'll see you when I get back.
Yeah, I hope you won't be gone too long. I'm really anxious to help you on that special project.
I know. And thanks, Teresa.
I'm so glad you're getting away for the weekend with Gwen. I hope you're planning a proposal while you're there.
Mother, can I do something without coaching from the peanut gallery?
Yes, of course, darling. Of course you can. I'm just so glad that you realize finally that Gwen is the perfect woman for you. Perfect in every way. I hope you have a marvelous time at the cabin, darling, and I want you to put work completely out of your mind.
Work? Never heard of it. You're not going to yell at me for that one, are you, Teresa?
Of course not, Ethan. I know you have your priorities straight.
That's right. We both do, don't we, Teresa?
Well, go on. I'll walk you to your car.
Mrs. Crane, do you mind if I go home early today? My family's going through a very difficult time right now.
I know, Pilar. Julian told your son that your husband embezzled money from Crane Industries.
It's not true. No one will ever convince me that Martin stole anything. He's not a thief.
I don't know if Martin stole anything or not, but I do know that you're the one being hurt by this, and I will help you any way I can, Pilar.
Thank you. I'm just so afraid that Luis will find his father and arrest him. Martin's been gone so many years.
Do you really think that Luis can find your husband?
Well, he's gonna try. And as much as I want my husband back, I'm afraid his discovery will cause great pain to my family. And to yours.
I'm afraid of the same thing, Pilar.
I would only hope that this could be resolved without either family being caused too much pain. But there can only be one truth to what happened all those years ago.
And you're not so sure that my husband is telling the truth.
I'm not accusing Mr. Crane. But I know Martin. And as I said before, he's not a thief.
You're right, of course, Pilar. There can only be one truth. I just wish for the sake of both our families that the past could stay in the past, but I'm afraid it may be too late for that.